Hello, class, and welcome to English 101. Unfortunately, the meeting was not recorded. It could not record. So I'm just going to go over a brief overview of what we are going to be doing for week 3. We are going to be focusing on the narrative, and for this week that you'll write an outline for your narrative essay. So the outline means it's going to be really a brief overview, using Roman numerals and numbers and letters, summing up the plot structure. And so when we think about narrative, you'll be reading an article on the Who I Am story. The Who I Am story gives fundamentals of narrative writing. It also talks about the different genres that narrative writing appears in, whether it's film, media, books, even paintings. So you could even look at a painting and write a story based on it. But your paper will be based on a book or film or media source. You will take the plot and reinvent it, or make a sequel or new episode to that. And here there are some examples here: Twilight, The Selection, Harry Potter. That's just an overview. Because it should be about something that you are um, a fan of or engaged with, that you enjoy, because um, basically whatever you enjoy or engaged in, you will write so much better. It'll be so much easier to write. It will not feel laborious, and you will just enjoy what you're doing. And like I said, it makes writing a really good experience. But when we think about narrative writing, we are thinking about the Aristotelian plot structure. There is an exposition. In the introductory paragraph, you'll give a clear exposition that describes the characters and setting. It'll indicate the tone, your attitude toward the subject or whoever you choose to be the narrator, and also the mood, the atmosphere, whether that's suspenseful or eerie, or whether it's joyful. The imagery that you use paints a picture. You want to make sure that you are using vivid imagery that gives specific details and is symbolic. You want to look for different vantage points, and when you're describing a scene, it'll be up to you how you include dialogue, and we'll talk more about that next week. Like I said, I apologize that video did not record where I went into a lot of detail about these things already, but we'll go over this next week. And so when you think about your subgenre, will be your story be humorous, adventurous, realistic? You want to think about the purpose of why you're telling the story, but the exposition is so crucial for giving that context, the context to the series, or where you are getting the original characters from, giving context to that. And so, like I said, you want to make sure you map out the correct structure in your outline here. In the second body paragraph, you will describe a series of events that unfolds and leads to the crisis. You will then and the crisis will be either based on an internal or external conflict. An external conflict is something that's outside of the character's control. An internal conflict is within themselves. Using good literary techniques, tactile, auditory imagery, visual imagery, metaphors, alliteration, those are great things at painting that picture. And then when you get to the third body paragraph, that is going to, basically, um, it will give the resolution. So the second body paragraph will describe the following action. That's a series of events that will lead to the conclusion. And then the third body paragraph will map out whether the ending is peaceful. It could be still mysterious or suspenseful how it ends. Might want to leave it open-ended, or it could end in with a happy ending based on the type of subgenre you're going to use. You always want to pay a close attention to character, and Aristotle also focuses on how characters are important at creating the moral lesson and your writing. And then you'll want to reflect on the purpose of writing your narrative and at the end of your paper. So once again, this outline is just basically, it is going to be, you can use complete sentences, you can use fragments, You can make lists at times, using letters and numbers. So it's not going to be the formal draft that you are going to be thinking about the audience you're writing for and with your tone, your style. You want to be very aware of using concision, but when you are taking on personas of characters, you might have some slang here and there. So those things are all really important and taking that into account. And so you're just going to be creating the story. You want to still add emphasis to giving illustrations and imagery that brings those ideas to life. You want a protagonist and an antagonist. Protagonist is the main character. Dynamic characters are changing. They go undergo character development. Round characters we know a lot about. You want to think about your point of view, whether you want it to be third person or third person omniscient. It could be the first person, but in general, probably more than likely be third person. Your plot could begin in media res, but in general, for most of the time, it'll probably begin with the in a chronological order of importance. So, um, these are all things to take into account, and I just wanted to go over these things with you, and that your paper will be somewhere around your first draft when you turn that in, which this is just the outline that's due Sunday, will be around 650 to 700 words. The PowerPoints are also there to help guide you as well. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have, and I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend.